Two fact-based stories, one thrilling, one not so much, are available for viewing this weekend.
And here to review Elvis and Jerry and Marge Go Large is film critic Chuck Koplinski. All right, Chuck, what are we thinking of Elvis?
Well, I got out my Heartbreak Hotel tie. Elvis, and I have to say I was worried about Elvis.
It's got a lot of buzz.
A lot of buzz. And I'm not a big fan of the director, Baz Luhrmann. He's way too busy for me. He's always makes you know that he's there. The way he cuts the movie together, it's just so distracting. But his style is perfect to bring Elvis's story to the big screen. And there you see Austin Butler. I want you to remember that name. Austin Butler. This kid is fantastic. If he is not nominated or even walk away with the Oscar, there's something wrong.
Wow.
I never felt at any point I was watching an actor portray Elvis. I felt as though I was watching Elvis the entire time. And this movie runs 2 hours and 40 minutes, but it never lags. It never lags. I did not check my watch because he is so captivating. And here you see him making a big to-do at one of his early appearances at a fairground in 1955, just as he's about to break out and the girls are going wild. And Butler has it all together, and he's the heart throughout this entire film. And there you see Tom Hanks.
Whoa, unrecognizable.
Under a lot of latex, playing Colonel Tom Parker, the manager. And it's important to know that he is telling this story from his deathbed. You've heard of the unreliable narrator. Well, you've got to remember that because Colonel Parker is all about trying to make himself look good and say, no, I didn't really cheat him that much. No, I treated him right, when in fact we know he ripped him off from day one until the day he died. Hanks, of course, is great, but again, Butler is unbelievable. And I got to tell you, one thing that this reminded me of was how great the music is. I think that we've heard these songs so many times that we take them for granted. But when you watch the film and you see them come on for the first time, I found myself listening to them again with maybe not fresh ears, but maybe a fresh perspective. I've been driving my poor son crazy at dinner. I've been playing nothing but his music because it reminded me of just not only how good it is, but how energetic it was. And the thing that surprised me most about this film is I was genuinely moved by it by the end. They talk about, and of course they pull no punches in showing just what a tragedy this ended up being for Elvis, who remained a good, honest person to the end, just fell in with the wrong folks. I cannot recommend this highly enough.
Wow.
I really loved it.
Where can people see this one?
Gotta go to the theaters, but you need to see this in the theater. You want to see it in a theater with a great sound system because it really, really rocks. It's really, really well
What's
done.
your go-to Elvis song?
Oh, well, it's the mood. What mood are you in? Can't Help Falling in Love is one of the great love songs of all time. But then, of course, you have Jailhouse Rock, and that one really, there's too many to choose. Too many to choose from.
All right, well, there's another movie that people can watch this weekend.
Yeah.
Jerry and Marge Go Large.
Jerry and Marge Go Large. You can see this one from the comfort of your home. It's on Paramount Plus. And there you see Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening as Jerry and Marge. This is based on a true story, as I said. Jerry has just retired, and he just doesn't know what to do with himself. But he's really good with numbers. He's always been good with numbers. Sitting around one day, he starts looking at the rules to a lottery game that's played in his state, and he realizes there's a loophole. And I'm not very good with numbers, but I think what it was that when the lottery rolls over, they start giving the money to people who only got 3, 2, or 1 numbers instead of all of them. And he reasoned that if you buy enough tickets, you would end up winning more than you would spend. That's the long and short of it. He thinks it's a fluke until he tries it. Then he wins. And then he wins again. Then he wins again. And he just keeps on winning. Well, he's from a small town that's dying, and he decides to help everybody, and they form a corporation. Everyone buys shares at $500 a share, and with the money, they buy tickets. And then, of course, they divvy up all the winnings that come along. This movie is fine. It's fine. You know, it's not great. It doesn't stink. It's nice. It's okay. It's fine. But I don't think an actor or director ever shoots for fine when they're making a movie, and this is below Cranston and Benning's level. If these are the sorts of scripts they're getting offered, that's a really sad state of affairs because they're much too good for this material.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, yeah.
It seems a little slow from your description, but maybe predictable.
And that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Part of the problem.
Okay, tell me about High Noon.
High Noon. Are you going to tell me you've never heard of this movie?
I'm going to guess it's a Western.
But you never heard of it.
No.
Same.
Sorry.
One of the great westerns of all time with Gary Cooper. He won his second Oscar for this, playing at the Virginia Theater Saturday at 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Grace Kelly is in this as well. I believe it was her 5th film, made in 1952. It is a seminal western in which poor Gary Cooper, playing Marshal Will Kane, is waiting for the noon train because there are 3 bad guys who have just been sprung for prison coming to get him.
Uh-oh.
And
My goodness.
Goes around looking for help, and no one's going to help him, and he has to stand up alone at high noon against these guys. Drag your kids, drag your grandkids to see a Western on Saturday. They may hate it, but in the years to come, they'll say, hey, that maybe wasn't all that bad.
And if you just buy them some extra popcorn, you know, milk duds.
Snack.
I will be there Saturday at 1. Say hi if you see me.
Oh, that's great. How long is a movie like that?
A movie like that. You mean an old movie? Those old movies?
Classic,
with,
like a classic.
In black and white, those old ones?
I'm
oh,
sorry,
they're
I
awful. Awful. This one runs about 97 minutes.
I see, that's very fine for all the kids and grandkids.
It's not Greed. Greed was a film made in 1927, and it ran 8 hours.
Oh, my.
Well, that is why I asked.
There you go.
1 and 7 p.m. is quite the gap.
Exactly. Okay, for more reviews and witty banter, you can check out the Real Talk with Chuck and Pam YouTube channel for video reviews and segments, or just go to their website that we saw right there, realtalkwithchuckandpam.com, and stay tuned for their weekly podcasts.